I Can Comprehensive Personality Development Program by S. Bharat Kumar. Welcome, Bharat sir.
Thank you.
Learning is an art. How we have to learn?
Today it's going to be a very unique session. As you said, learning is an art. And learning is also a never-end process. There is no end for learning. Till you are lost breath, you can learn and learn. Continuous learning system. So today we are going to learn how to learn.
Very good. How to learn?
Most of the time, we don't know how to learn. Everybody in the world, you see, they want to learn at least one art, one job, one skill. Somebody want to become a good cricketer. Somebody want to become a good teacher. Somebody want to be a good student. They all want to learn. How to be a good student, they want to learn. How to be a good teacher, they want to learn. How to become a good cricketer, they want to learn. Above all, we must know how to learn.
Learn to learn. It sounds new, sir.
Most of the time, we don't know how to learn. Learning is not just attending on the classroom session, going to your school regularly, going to your college regularly, doing the exercises. That's not it. You must understand, analyze, and then act. It is not acting even. It is actually reacting. Reacting to your teacher's query, reacting to your teacher's classroom session, reacting to your lecturer, reacting to your professor, reacting to your tutor. It is not action, it is reaction. Learning is a system. Learning is not just a job or a task. It is a system. It should have a completeness. That is what we are going to teach today. We want to share today that how this system works. That's it.
How it works?
It works very simply. The vague idea about learning is doing the homework. It's only towards the academic ranking or marking. Actually, it is not. Academic marking and ranking can be easily achieved if you understand the system of learning. Learning has got so many other components. Component number 1 is listening. First, you must listen. Once when you see a movie, you are devoting your eyes to the movie, right? Suppose you are going to a theater, watching a movie, you are dedicating your eyes to the screen. Like that, if you want to learn, you must also dedicate your ears. You have to listen. So listening is the very first step of learn to learn. Please give your ears. Devote during the classroom session. Then your homework is half done. In fact, 60% of the marks you can very easily score if you really listen. If you can utterly listen to your classroom sessions, then minimum 60% of marks are assured.
Okay, what is the next step of learn to learn module, sir?
Understanding. This system is quite compatible to a normal working lifestyle system. Say for example, your friend is coming to you and telling, I have this problem. Automatically what you do? You first listen what he or she is telling. Then you understand. Then you start suggesting, or it is not like that, you have to do like this. Then you start directing them. In the same way, in a classroom, after listening, please do understand that what is actually taught to you. Don't mug up. Don't follow roughly. Don't have a blind follow-up. In the classroom, your teacher is teaching to you. You are listening to that. Then you understand what is the topic that taught for you on that particular day. This topic is associated with what? Say for example, if your teacher is teaching about a motor, then you associate the motor on a day-to-day activity. You see, in your home, there is a motor, there is a well. Associate with the real-time living world. Now you understand it. Then relate it. Now you are able to relate it. Yeah, even I do have a motor. Oh, the lift is operated just because of a motor. Now you can raise question. If this listening cannot happen, understanding is not possible. If you understand, you need to relate it to keep it in your memory. If this thing happens, then you will have a doubt, you will raise a question. Once when I say you can raise a question, there are two type of questions can be raised. One is with doubt, another question is just for the sake of asking a question. So a teacher can also very easily identify a good student based on the question he or she raises. If the question is vague, what it means? He or she is not listened properly. Listening skill is gone. He or she never understood what was taught just before. He or she never related things. So if it is a vague question, it's a waste one. Fine. Then, in case if I did everything properly, I listened clearly, I analyzed the situation, I understood the concept, I have related already, then you will start raising a question. What you will raise? Automatically you will say that, sir, what are all the type of motors available? So, a sensible question. That is the reason. If you can do all these factors correctly, then your question will make sense. Otherwise, that is a nonsense question. This is a primary thing that is required for a student within the classroom.
Globally, some people are doing mug up and they are vomiting in the paper, but it's happening. But you told that don't mug up the things, and why they are doing like this?
Exactly.
And also they are getting the marks, na?
Exactly. Again, it is a very good question. Academic performance, professional performance are different. Say for example, a student is mugging up and as you said, vomiting in the papers, getting the mark sheet done, going for the next study. You ask the same student after a year, you cannot find the answer which he or she wrote in the paper. That is gone out of the memory. Whereas, you go and ask the same question to a student who understood or who followed the entire system of learn to learn. He or she can definitely answer to you. So, mugging up is only a temporary solution. That is a stopgap arrangement. For academic reasons, for the mark reason, that may be there. But this is definitely not possible if you want to be a good student. If you happen to be a good student, you are not supposed to mug up. You must understand and write.
And I have a question. You told about how to learn, but I'm asking why we have to learn, because that's a very important question nowadays. I'm thinking because I am learning, I'm getting marks, I'm settled in a job, then it's finished. But you told learning is a continuous process. But why we have to learn?
Fine. Now you are learning or you are getting your marks done, entering into your job, getting your salary, happily moving. But these are all only physical things. If you want to become a professional, whether you are a teacher or you are a doctor or you are an advocate or you are an auditor, if you are an accounts person going into an office working as an accounts assistant, you will become an accounts manager after 10 or 15 years. Maybe the fellow who understood the entire concept of accounting, he will get the same promotion in 3 years of time, 3 to 5 years of time. That depends upon the company policy and all. So, being professional, the professionals never mug up. If you want to become a professional person, please don't mug up. Understand your syllabus, understand the entire concept of learning, then you go with it. If you simply mug up, obviously you cannot become a professional in your field, whatever you select.
And also learning is giving a lot of happiness and knowledge and all the things too.
Definitely, if you mug up, it looks like a job for you. If you understand and study, it is happiness, as you said. That is happiness. If you simply mug up and vomit, that is a task, that is a job. So, it is in the hands of the students to make sure that whether they are a normal student or a professional student. Hope our audience are all professional students.
Okay, what all are the other things in Learn to Learn module, sir?
It's a very practical module that we developed. We will take another situation. A student is passing his or her higher secondary education. That means you are 10th or, high school is 10th, plus 1, plus 2 or higher secondary in our education system. This person is coming to the college level now. The transition between a school level student to a college level student plays a very major role. That plays a very important role. It is definitely important. We have seen many times in the counseling that we go to a college, we still feel the set of people has got the school attitude. Once when you enter into the college, your attitude must be a college attitude.
Can you give any example on this?
Fine. It's a simple example I can give you. In school, we call the book as textbook. In a college, we have a reference book. So, a fellow from the school is more of a textbook attitude person. Whereas, you must increase your attitude level. The transition must occur to read, to understand the reference books also. Because these 3 to 4 years in a college, what you study is going to decide on your profession. Fine, the school level is the basic one. That is the reason you are here in the college. But once when you reach the college campus, you must definitely understand that the difference between the textbook and referring to a reference book. It's a very simple one, but it is very important.
Okay, sir, what are all the suggestions for the students who are entering into the college first year?
First thing, in a school, particularly students studying for the 10th standard examination, 12th standard examination, meticulously and invariably, globally you watch them, they study alone. College life is not like that. It's a very simple one. Once when you reach the college level, you have to be a smart student rather a hard working student. How you can be a smart student? There are 5 different units available. You are listening to the classroom sessions. All the 5 units are in your mind now. 60% of the marking is already done if you listen well, as I said earlier. Whereas, just before the examination, we have a wrong methodology. We have a vague methodology, in other words, that you want to study the book from wrapper to wrapper. Why not? Why don't? Why not you 5 people join together? You prepare the entire first unit. The other guy may prepare the second one. The third one may prepare the third one. Like that till the 5th unit. Now you share it in a forum. Now look at, your job is reduced. You are not studying all the 5 units before your exam, putting enough pressure on yourself, tension, pain. It is a cakewalk. One guy is talking about unit number 1. You are listening to that because you already got used to listening in the classroom sessions. So your pain is reduced. In fact, in such a hectic academic pressure nowadays, this module will definitely suit to them because their pain is reduced. It's quite simple.
You are right, sir. Listening is better than the studying. At the same time, group study is very important at the time of studying.
Group study is more like you are reducing your pain because as an individual, if you study right from the lesson number A to Z, it is definitely a tough job. Whereas the job is segregated now. So you are actually comforted. You have ample time to perform now. Sometimes we prepare, but we cannot write. We don't have ample time to write and see, what we have actually studied. In this methodology, you have ample time to evaluate yourself. How many times we see a student, who knows answer for each and every question printed on the question paper, but he don't have the writing habit. So within that given 3 hours of time, he or she may leave 2 questions. Obviously, the marks also. So they cannot score centum. But if you segregate the pain as a group study, then you have ample time to write and see whether I am able to write within this scheduled time or not. You have to prepare with a clock. Have a clock, write and see. Because if you go to the higher level education, you have so many diagrams to be, delivered. You have to produce it in the form of paper. Those diagrams must be in, according to the dimension sometimes, if it is a drawing question. So all these factors are there. So group study is suggested when it comes to college. That actually reduces the pain. And so you are actually studying with 4 people, so you don't have even the mental pain, physical pain. The job is reduced. But the effect remains the same. You can score more marks. You will have a lot of time to practice. That is the main ideology.
Okay, sir, you are visiting a lot of colleges and meeting a lot of students. What are the common problems you are facing in the students at the time of learning?
Fine. One global problem what we see is that choosing. Choosing is the global problem. In fact, personally, we call it as a global disease. Global study disease, that is called. Since you have the physical pain of reading from wrapper to wrapper, or since you are running short of time, the student always tend to cut loose and do one common job, one common mistake. That is, he will have a question bank. If a question is asked in the previous semester, he or she will leave that in choice. The other question is answered or prepared. This choosing is a big problem once when you come out of your college. Because in an interview, you don't have the choosing at all.
You are right.
You cannot go to a HR manager and say, my dear HR manager, that you already asked question A to the previous candidate. So you have to ask only question B. You don't have a choosing when it comes to the real-time industry. So now you relate. If you are studying alone, you have got the physical pain. You are running short of time. Whereas, that is the reason most of the time a student is compelled to go with choosing. On the other hand, there is no choosing as far as the real-time industry is concerned. In this case, you are a failure. You are unable to click. You cannot get your job done. Whereas, if you study the entire 5 units or whatever the syllabus, the completeness, then you click. So group study helps for that. You don't want to say that, I have studied A plus B the whole squared in the previous attempt. So this time it is not going to come. I want A minus B the whole squared only. But whereas in an interview, you don't have the choice. So that is the reason mainly, please do study the entire syllabus, whatever is given to you.
Okay, suppose some student understands the problem, it's not a problem. But the person could not understand any problem or anything, then what can he do? What can he do?
Very, very simple. We have to go back to lesson number 1. What is actually lesson number 1 in Learn to Learn module? He or she cannot understand. That is the question, right? Why you are not understanding? Because you never listened. In a classroom, if you are not listening, you cannot understand. If you are not understanding, you cannot analyze. If you are not doing these 3 things properly, you cannot raise a doubt. You don't have doubt at all. If you study, you will have doubt. If you are not studying, there is no doubt. So please understand, if the listening skill is very, very important for a student, at least listening skill during the classroom session is strongly suggested, recommended.
Okay, sir. In the Learn to Learn, how much the homework is working?
Homework is the part and parcel of the learning system. Often, we have a wrong idea that homework is a different task. Because you are not in your school, you are not in your college, I am at home, but still I am studying. It is actually not. Homework is also part and parcel of the system. Homework is created mainly the student to understand that what he or she learnt on that day. It is actually not a test. It is actually not a test. It is only the test for the teacher and the student as well, that what was taught today and what he or she understood. That is the reason. Even in the same case, you can even take it as test. Weekly test, bi-monthly test, monthly test, quarterly, half-yearly, or whatever you call it as. Why it is known as test? It is basically to test how much you studied, how much you learnt. In fact, we very strongly instruct or counsel the students that not to study while you write your weekly exam or monthly exam. Why? We have 2 terms. One is called exam. Another one is test. Now, we are instructing not to study during monthly or weekly test. Examination is different, test is different. Now, you follow the word test closely and clearly. What test means? It is evaluating. It is monitoring. Testing is monitoring. Examination is evaluation. Testing is to monitor what you learned. Examination is to evaluate your skills on that. That is the reason we say during the time of a weekly or monthly test, please don't study. Don't put any extra effort for that. Just because if you are putting an extra effort, you don't know what you actually learned during the classroom session. You don't know to evaluate your grasping ability. You cannot evaluate your memory power. So please don't do that. Write the test. Go through your mock list. Now you can evaluate yourself. How I am performing, whether I am able to grasp, that you can very well evaluate. Then whether I have memory or not. What is my memory level? Whether I am in the super memory stage or in the creative memory stage. Whether I am able to produce whatever I memorized. Because memory is also retrieving. It is not only storing. You have to produce it again. That is the reason you must take the homework very seriously into concern. That is where you can perform well during your test. Once when you perform well in your test, examination is nothing. You can very easily clear the papers.
The Learn to Learn.
A quick recap of Learn to Learn module is, during the classroom session, listen. Then you understand. Automatically you can analyze. That will take you to relate whatever you learnt with the present world. That is where you can start raising your doubts in the form of question. So Learn to Learn module is of many components. Component number 1 is listen, understand, analyze, relate, and question. Just because you are a student, you don't need to raise a question. If you are raising a question, you must make sense. If you want to make sense while you are raising a question during the classroom session, you must follow these steps. Then please understand the difference between the textbook level to reference book level. Once when you reach the college level, you must know how to refer the reference book, how to get the required data out of a reference book. Don't study with choices, because choosing you have only in the academic schedule, not in the real-time world, not in the real-time industry, not during your interviews. And study as a group. That actually reduces the pain and gives you ample time to practice further. That's what Learn to Learn module.
From this session, we have learned about how to learn. So really, it's a very useful session for us.
The pleasure is ours. Hope The audience will definitely follow the module Learn to Learn. Till then, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.